In this first episode, I'm going to talk about what's referred to as posture, but I want to emphasize right away that posture is not a fixed position. It's simply a starting point which will allow you to move effectively at the piano. So after getting set up, I'm going to show you a couple of exercises that you can use to begin to ingrain the kind of whole body movement patterns that will keep your playing healthy and efficient in the long term. As a basic starting position, we're going to try to balance and stack the parts of the torso on top of one another, meaning your pelvis, back, and head, so that they stay upright with minimal muscle tension. It's best to think of this from the bottom up. So first of all, we're going to try to find a solid connection from the bench to your sitting bones. The kind of bench I have here is mostly flat with a small amount of padding, and I think that's the best option. You want to avoid anything that has a lot of lumps or buttons in it, because then you won't be able to get the kind of precise and solid connection between your sitting bones and the bench. The bench should be placed at a distance from the keyboard where you can sit mostly on the front portion of the bench and you feel your sitting bones in contact and not too much of your thighs. So you should be able to actually move your legs a bit in front of you and roll forward on the sitting bones or backward without the legs getting in the way. The height of the bench should get you about to the point where your elbow is at the same level as the keys or a little bit above. You don't want to be below the key level because then you won't be able to get the leverage you need. You can experiment over time with the height of the bench and the distance from the keyboard, because sometimes sitting and moving in new ways will require a bit of an adjustment in those areas, so you can just keep that in mind as you're learning these new habits. Once you have a good support from the sitting bones and pelvis, you can let your back balance on top of that and then check out the position of your head. So your head should not be too far forward or down in the keys like this. It should be just balanced easily on top of the spine. Here's a great exercise that my teacher used to unify the parts of the torso. I'm going to put my fists against the wood below the keyboard and let this little ridge of wood fit between my knuckles, bring my shoulder blades down and back, keep my head up, and now I'm going to lift my 2 feet off the floor and feel that engagement that happens when you lift up your feet. Push my tailbone back on the bench, which means rolling the pelvis forward, and then rock a bit like this. Now you can let it go and feel what that does to the alignment of the parts of your torso. Now you can keep the same kind of balance and let go of some of the muscle tension that you needed during the exercise and try to get used to that new way of sitting. It's good to have a practice away from the piano to reinforce this, something like Alexander technique or yoga or certain corrective posture exercises, just to get used to this kind of positioning, because for some people habits have accumulated over time and maybe their shoulders and head are shaped in a way that's not really optimal. So it can take some repetition and practice to teach your body to maintain this kind of position. Now once you have everything well aligned, we're going to start moving. So the idea is you should move primarily from your lower body, and then the rest of your torso will be supported by it. So as a quick example, if I reach out to grab this pencil on the music rack of my piano, I can reach out with my arm and almost get it, and then bend at the torso, and this feels out of balance and kind of tense. Or I can originate the movement from my lower back and go like this. My left leg is coming with me in order to compensate, so the whole system maintains its balance. Since most of the time when we're playing, the right foot is going to be on the damper pedal, the left leg needs to be free to move. So bring your left foot back and out a little bit wider than the right, and this is around where it should stay most of the time. You can feel the difference if you put your left foot on the pedal as well. It's going to restrict your movement from the hips, but when the left foot is further out, then you can still feel just as rooted on the bench with your sitting bones and be able to move from the lower body. For this next exercise, I'm going to start moving my hands above the keys, putting my two hands flat like this and moving in a circular motion as if I'm wiping the surface, and let my lower body follow. So as my arms come out and forward, the lower back comes in, and then here it's coming back out. There's a version of that exercise playing notes as well. It's going to be broken octaves in contrary motion, starting with your two thumbs on B flat. You should feel a similar movement in the lower back as you're doing that. Moving side to side is a bit different, but the principle is the same. You want to maintain the balance of the whole torso while we're moving either right or left. And as you get into those positions, the weight shifts onto the right sitting bone and onto the left sitting bone, and the legs are going to adjust as you go. Any kind of arpeggio works to practice that. I'm going to use a diminished seventh for now. When moving side to side, I like to imagine that there's a connection between my elbow and hip bone on the same side. So I'm just kind of shutting off my shoulder and letting it stay neutral, and then imagining that these 2 points are connected as I move. As for how to use your body weight to make sound at the piano, I'm going to get into that more in the next episode when I will talk about the arm's role in the weight transfer at the piano. And it's going to become more clear at that point how your body weight is going to be translated into sound. You can subscribe below to be notified when that comes out, and hope to see you there. Thanks for watching.